The fly I'm going to be tying today is a Gurgle Pop. It makes use of foam strips. You can buy foam sheets at Hobby Lobby. The easiest way to cut these into 1/4 inch strips is simply run it through a paper shredder. The first step in tying any fly is to attach the tying thread to the hook. For this fly I'm using an extra heavy tying thread. That's because I want to really pull down on these foam strips, but you could use a 3/0 or even 6/0 thread also. Just be careful when you pull on it that you don't break your thread. Wind the thread to a point opposite the barb of the hook. Next, take a 6-inch piece of Aunt Lydia's rug yarn that you can get at Hobby Lobby. Separate the yarn into its individual strands. We're going to use only one of the strands for the tail and for the body. Attach the yarn with several thread wraps. The tail should be approximately the length of the shank of the hook. Use a comb or a bodkin to separate the tail fibers so that they flare. Place a foam strip on top of the hook. Position it so that the strip is just behind the eye of the hook. Bind down at the same point that you tied in the tail. Put a lot of pressure on the thread. You want to really pull it tight. The foam will have a tendency to twist, but that's okay. You can reposition it. And then hold it firmly in place with a couple more turns of thread. Hold the foam and the yarn up and advance the tying thread forward to the tie-in point. Now use the rest of the Aunt Lydia's rug yarn and form a body. Try to make a tapered body. Bring it forward to the tie-in point. Tie it off and trim the butt end. A couple more thread wraps will hold it securely in place. Bring the piece of foam forward, pinch it very tightly, and tie it in at the tie-in point. Bring the rear piece of the foam forward and tie it in at the same point. Again, pinch tightly and bear down hard on the tying thread. Be careful that you don't break your thread or cut the foam. Take your scissors, slide them forward to the eye of the hook, and trim the foam. This next step is optional. I'm going to trim the corners of the foam just to make it look prettier. It doesn't really make it fish any better. Next, we're going to add our rubber legs. The easiest way to do that is take the rubber leg, place it under the thread, and bring it to the near side of the fly. Do the same thing on the other side and make a couple of loose wraps of thread. This will allow you to position the legs where you want them. Once you have the legs in the proper position, make a couple of tight turns to hold them in place. And whip finish your fly. Trim the thread and use a little bit of head cement to give the thread wraps more durability. Finally, trim the legs to the proper length, about 1 inch in the back. and slightly shorter in the front. Here's the finished Gurgle Pop, a great brim and bass fly. Check out our website for more fly tying for everyone.